We've been standing here for a couple hours. I can't wait to go get some motion because I understand that my body's not just going to float through the next 50 years of my life. And I can actually move my body to a younger body. Across our weekly schedule, we do most exercises like once a week, maybe twice a week. But the sled we do every day. You see what I mean? So the sled, you can recover faster. But these other things, we're putting in the stimulus with the best form we can. We're trying to get measurably stronger over time. But we're not overtraining those things because they take time to recover. So hopefully that kind of explains that.
The sled is something that I've ever since that you guys have been talking about it so much. Every single workout, even if like yesterday, I had to do something quick and like my knee was feeling a little wonky, so I just needed to come to the gym. I only had 20 minutes because I had to go to jiu-jitsu a little bit later. So I was like, okay, I did some backwards, forward sled, I did some tib, 20 minutes, and I was out. My knee was feeling great. But I do that. The sled is something also consistently. Every single time I hit the gym, I always hit the sled now. And it has paid dividends for my performance. It's one of those things that like, I wish more gyms had sleds. Like you guys have been talking about it so much. If more gyms had sleds, people would be able to reap some benefits from that. Yeah. But it gives you the most bang for your buck.
Yeah. But all three of you are getting to the most important part of this is that there is no button you get to just sign off and sell your body and live the rest of your life in the clouds. It's still going. You got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. You're not just going to have this magical feeling 24/7. And the way that you actually feel better is by moving, is the motion. So find those things. We're never telling anyone what to think. We're just supplying solutions. Oh, it's going well for you? Awesome. If something else is going well for you, awesome. You know? So that's the finishing touch, that when someone really gets that, like we've been standing here for a couple hours, I can't wait to go get some motion because I understand that my body's not just going to float through the next 50 years of my life. And I can actually move my body to a younger body. And that's what they found with the idea of pressure, is that actually a body with more pressure upon it. And this really justifies why sometimes you'll see power lifters who actually have really good health benefits from certain aspects, is that a body with more pressure ages biologically younger. You want to get younger? The four of us don't need to go sit on a couch right now. That'll actually make us older. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. If we want to get younger, if we want to feel better, we actually have to go move to do that. But I definitely didn't think that way for most of my life. I thought the way you were younger was to like preserve the body by not using certain things. You know what I mean? By avoiding things. So I think that's to me, that's like the finishing touch of longevity that Derek was saying, is that keep going. He was saying keep going.
Yeah. One thing about me, I never stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a price to pay with comfort, you know, just having too much of it, you know, and we're sitting, we no longer are like lying on the floor, you know, like when you go to sleep, like you have a bed that's specific for that. And, you know, if you just didn't have furniture, we would probably, and if we kind of lived the way that we used to, then we wouldn't have to like make up so many different exercises for us to do, but our bodies don't move the same ways that they used to. We used to do all these movements. I was talking to your wife about it. You might go in the woods and you might kill an animal and you might pull it out by walking backwards with it.
And then squat by the fire and eat it.
Absolutely, yeah, because there's no chairs. You know, you're either squatting, and how long are you going to squat for? Maybe just a couple minutes, and then you're going to sit down with your legs crossed, and then you're going to be on your knees, and then you're going to be standing up again. And so we don't do that anymore. We don't do that enough. And so now it's like you got to figure out, okay, I'm going to pull this sled backwards, and I'm going to do all these other exercises to try to make the knee more resilient and make the area stronger. And I like what you're saying about the ligaments and tendons, because I think that that's kind of stuff that just doesn't get talked about enough. And Louis Simmons, again, he was like, look, you got to do like 50 to 75 reps in a row to kind of get to those ligaments and tendons. I was always like, what the hell? That's a lot of reps. It's wild, though.
Power Project family, how's it going? Now on this podcast, Mark Andrew and I, we talk about fasting a lot. We talk about the ketogenic diet and a lot of different types of diets. But Bubs Naturals has a product. They have the collagen protein, which is amazing. They have these apple cider vinegar gummies, which are like crack. But they have
they have these
MCT oil powder packets that I've never used to do this, but in the morning I'll wake up and I'll put it in coffee, and the smoothness, number one, in terms of the mixing, is amazing, but the consistency of my energy through the day because of the MCT oil powder is peak. Andrew, How's your experience with it?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. It's like the best way to start the day. You're satiated, you're energized, and you're just ready to crush the day. So if you guys want to get in on this MCT oil powder, head over to bubsnaturals.com and at checkout, enter promo code Power Project to save 20% off your entire order. Again, Bubs Naturals, promo code Power Project to save 20% off. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
But it works.
That kind of explains some of the sled though. So we don't, in our gym, when people visit us, we do 8 round trips, and that ends up being about 100 meters forward, 100 meter backward. But we actually increase intensity as the sets go. So we're trying to train that blood flow and whatever at a deeper level. So it's, chalk up another one for Louis. And the guy's just such a genius. There's video of a 330-pound guy doing Nordic hamstring curls in his gym. He made it.
Ooh.
Yep, it's called the poor. And unfortunately, it'd be way too hard to find, but I can send you the video. In my chat with all those ATG coaches, we use that every now and then because Louis made a poor man's, it's just a Nordic bench. And he's got a guy, they were betting him like $20 and he did 10 Nordics at 330 pounds.
Yeah.
So that,
That's insane.
yeah. So that would represent, I mean, these conversations could go on forever, but that would represent something that there's some degree of measurement there. So I guess that's what Derek and I are trying to do is actually take some of these qualities, but then bring them to certain measurements, meaning maybe you feel like crap after sitting at your 9 to 5. But if you can, bend over and palm the floor with your flexibility versus if you couldn't even touch your toes. And that's just one thing. It doesn't mean that one thing fixes everything. It's just an example that you can put in the work and achieve certain measurables the same way you can put in the work and achieve certain bench presses and squats and deadlifts. And that powerlifting mentality is actually correct. You learn how to put in the work over time for measurable changes. And that's just what we're trying to do with things that relate to mobility and longevity and things like that is put in the work, find safe measurements over time. So we're obsessive on that measurement side too with that, we're looking at that reverse squat and how many people can do half body weight for 20 reps.
Yeah.
These are things you work towards over time. You keep working towards. Doesn't mean everything is great. Maybe not all the time, but it's better than it was. And we have to give ourselves credit that we haven't all been through a natural life. We weren't all, I was icing my knees and having surgeries, not dragging, animals backward and sitting around with my knees. I probably went 10 years without ever bending my knees all the way, not knowing what a disaster. And in basketball players, probably most of us go years and years without ever bending our knees all the way because it's too painful because we build up so much trauma in the area. And now that makes these super degraded conditions. The amount of basketball players now in their 40s who are struggling so bad, meaning guys who used to play, it's brutal. Guys reaching out every day, man, I'm on my 7th surgery. I got to do something different. I've seen 13, 14 knee surgeries. And some of these guys were great NBA players reaching out. So, it's unfortunate, but that's why big goals and appreciation. We're fired up. We have solutions. That's why.
Are you saying that one of the reasons that does happen, because there are many reasons why this can happen, but one of the reasons is the avoidance of that range over time?
Big time.
Yeah.
Because you're playing basketball for so many years. You build up that trauma, so then you think it hurts to do full range of motion. There's no kinds of education, zero education on how we can get there, how we can regress it, how we can get into it and restore that. But that is what we would be doing naturally in life. We'd be giving those joints some bending.
True.
So we have to acknowledge ourselves and give ourselves, credit, not be hard on ourselves. Okay, we're in pain, this, that, the other, back pain or knee pain, all this stuff, adding up. But we haven't all just lived ideal lives. So let's give ourselves some credit and work on it and improve it. If we can even improve it, to me, that's worth going for.
One of the big issues, I think, is that strength coaches don't have the knowledge to do anything other than strength train with weights. That's like, that would be your go-to. Like if I was a strength and conditioning coach, I would go and I would take a certification class and course, and they would talk about lifting weights. Now, I'm sure there would be some stuff about like isometrics and body weight stuff, but that stuff's always like swept under the rug. That's PT, right? Like
it's a
that's
warm-up,
for
maybe. Yeah,
it's a warm-up. It's for after you're already injured and hurt. And so I think a lot of times, you're thinking, I got this basketball player and he can't squat below parallel because he's 6'8" and he just leans forward and he's got knee pain. He's complaining about that. A coach will be like, all right, we'll just reduce the weight, but that's not really a good solution. A better solution is, how do we get you moving in the longest range of motion possible that's still safe? Maybe for that athlete, maybe they have to hold on to something as they go down, so not all their weight is in that deep squat position, right? Don't you have people do that sometimes?
Huge trick for that is holding dumbbells and reaching them out in front of you.
Right, counterbalance, yeah.
That's something we've been using lately with our buddies who are 6'8" with no knee cartilage left, but they finish sessions because of the sled and these tricks for regression. They finish sessions going, "Oh my God, I never thought the rest of my life I would bend my knees like I just did without pain."
But you have to get into those positions, right?
Exactly. But it's not. Those things aren't taught. Knowledge moves fast. Training, diet, these kind of things. We're still in the newbie stages.
Yeah.
So it's no one's fault, but the educational system built up on textbooks. It takes 20, 30 years to change the textbook. That was one of the big things Charles Poliquin got into me, is to be relentlessly pursuing knowledge, but to realize that a textbook, it's doing its best job. But for the entire system to change, it's going to take like 20, 30 years. And that's if you're lucky that the data gets in. So sometimes a piece of data is entered, which actually is found to be false, but now you can't even change the previous data. Like with the VMO, they did a whole study and determined that you can't preferentially train the VMO, but they actually never tested below 90 degrees. So they did all kinds of foot positionings and all kinds of stuff. And then much more recently now, they did one and they actually tested like full bend, and they found that you definitely preferentially train the VMO when you're coming out of a full bend. But that is not, if you go look at the textbooks, that's not there. And now how long will that take to change that, and who's going to change that? So making your knowledge base, understanding that textbooks are there, but again, it goes back to the mentor thing of people who are achieving the results you want. This is what we do. People like us we're on the cutting edge. We're putting out the data in real time. Just that trick with the dumbbells to reach out in front. That doesn't say that in any textbook. Elevate the heels, reach the dumbbells out in front. Don't even start that until you've been backward, which is a shorter range. And on the forward sled, you notice how you get into that medium range, you bend more. So for leg days, we don't just go backward, we go backward and forward. Now you're getting the short and the medium range, and now you're regressing the full range. Boom, magic happens. That data I just said, boom. Now, people are changing their lives with that, but that's going to take 20, 30 years to be in a textbook.
Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel, because we continue to bring you peak content on this channel. Obviously, you guys are here. You guys have watched the whole video. So like, comment, subscribe. All right? See you later.